Much. With that, we bring in former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker and retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell. Thank you both so much for being here. Obviously, this is a story that has everyone's attention today. We all worry about our parents, and this is really every grown adult's nightmare that something like this could happen to one of your parents. This is what stood out, obviously, in that earlier press briefing from the Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. Listen to this.
We have shut down our search and rescue mission. We don't see this as a search mission as much as we do a crime scene.
I mean, Chris Swecker, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he put it as artfully as he could have. I mean, because they still should be gumshoeing around the neighborhood, looking for video, talking to people, several blocks out from there, going to, doing all the logical things you do in an investigation. So they are searching, and they, unfortunately, this is a very vulnerable demographic here. This is not someone that they're going to take across the border in traffic. I can only think of really one or two reasons for the captor to take her out of the house. One is to get money from an ATM machine or do some type of transaction, and they need her. Or the other is that, something bad happened in the house and they're taking her out of there to dispose of the body. I hate to put it in those terms, but that's where we are right now. It's a very, it's obviously a very serious case. I'm sure they're putting on, putting everybody they can on this. The FBI has a, pretty specialized team that they'll apply to this case as well, and they bring some pretty unique resources to the scene.
Yeah, and Maureen, Chris makes great points about why someone would have taken her potentially somewhere else. But read into what you're hearing from the police here about what this crime scene is like in there and why they are saying that they're no longer in search and rescue mode, but they know they have a crime, potentially kidnapping or homicide.
Well, first to the crime scene aspect of it, they could have found something as simple as a turned over cup of coffee or a dropped cup of coffee, or her purse was on the ground, or her phone was strewn in a place that they'd never seen before. But one thing I'd like to key on, if I could, is that even though the caregivers may be great people, what I always recommend to my clients, and I'm sure Chris does when he does his threat assessments, we always tell our clients to do a background check on everyone that lives in the home or is a close family member of the person you're hiring, because you have to look at that threat vector to determine who's doing what in that home. And the reason I say that is because even if the caregiver is just the most wonderful person, if she has one or more people in her home that are, let's say, a gangbanger or a criminal, or they're into some type of other behavior, they may just listen to their mom say, oh, today we went shopping and she spent $700 and she's so lucky and her kids love her so much. They may know a lot more than people realize. So I always advise my clients to know and understand who the people are your caregivers live with, because it is a vulnerability that I'm sure the police are looking at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's really frightening and really good advice. Chris Swecker, this is one more soundbite here. The question was, could this be a targeted attack? Because obviously this woman's daughter is someone who is very well known in the country. Watch this.
Nothing's indicating to us that she was targeted, but we're getting a lot of leads thanks to you and the media, and so we'll look into those leads and see where that takes us. There is not a piece of information that we won't look at, and we'll take it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think one thing. There's the targeted question, which, you heard his answer to that, Chris. But I'm also wondering, with all due respect, the sheriff is sitting there behind the desk. We heard from him a little bit earlier. What is your sense of how active this investigation is and how hard they are searching for her and trying to rescue her, given what he said earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it did bother me that we stopped searching. I don't think he really meant that. I mean, they have the FBI there. They have all these resources from the Sheriff's Department, other local agencies. Where I think they may need the big assist here is things like searching the electronic devices, if she has any, get a speed reviewing all the video they get as quickly as they can. You know, it's manual processes that just aren't going to get it. They have to speed review the video, getting around the neighborhood and making sure that every single door has been knocked on, researching every person that's been to the house. And typically, I mean, sheriff's departments are not quite, they got a lot of duties, and it isn't always investigations. So it's good that they brought in the FBI and they have some help, because I think they really need it in this case. And, they've got a lot to work with here, or there are a lot of things to look at. And I really suspect they have some leads, and it's sound not to put the information out there so that they can test any information that comes in against what they know.
I hear you. Very scary. This woman has been missing now for, it's going to be 48 hours this evening, and it's just a terrible situation. Thank you both. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Chris. Great.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.